Hello everyone and welcome back to another Stormworks video. Now today marks the start of a new build series here on my channel. Now after a long time and a lot of comments from you guys and the community, we finally decided to go ahead and update the Legare Coast Guard ship into advanced mode here in Stormworks. Now in this first episode we're going to have a brief look over the ship and all of its components that are already in place, and we'll start figuring out which changes need to be made to update it. Now if you're enjoying these videos, comment below and let me know what else you would like to see in any of my future videos. While there, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and remember to click that bell icon to be notified of any of my upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. So with that all said, let's get straight into it and get started. Now, we're going to start the series off how we usually do in the build series, where we've actually moved the ship onto the dock area so we can actually have a proper look at it and see what needs to be changed. Now, first things, we're going to start on the outside and have a little walk around and see exactly what we need to change on there. Now, first things first is just over here you can see we obviously have the anchors, so I think we should redo those anchor systems a bit. Along with that also, we're probably going to make this hull slightly a little bit deeper. We'll also change the colors up a little bit. I want to get this more to a darker red. Remember, this ship was built probably about 9-10 months ago, so it's been quite a while since I've actually worked on the ship or done anything, so a lot of the things are really, there have been so many changes since we actually did the ship. Now moving on from there, you see we have the bow thrusters, so we're going to have to go ahead and get those hooked up to some engines and get all the piping done for that. We'll go ahead and probably also make the Coast Guard logo a little bit bigger. I'm probably just going to say from about there to about there, so probably about double the size, maybe triple the size that originally is right now. Along with that, we'll probably make the hull shape a little bit more curvier in comparison to where it is now. It looks a little bit more square. Just going straight from here, we need to upgrade these obviously to the new propellers that were introduced into the game. Along with that, we'll probably change this around somehow. I'm not too sure just yet. We're going to be removing quite a lot of this weight. As you can see, most of the bottom of the ship is weights. Now if we move on to over here, and probably those of you that actually have played around with the ship, you'll notice that there actually is a well deck inside the ship. So what we're going to have to do is figure that out and see if we need to make any changes there to make sure it still works in the current ship. I'll probably do a little bit more detailing here and there, probably put the actual name of the ship here in the back like we should do, and then moving actually onto the deck itself. Now I can get onto here just using the ladders, or at least hopefully I can. Yeah, there we go. Now moving on, we'll start at the back and we'll move our way forward. Now on this rear deck, I'm pretty happy with the layout. We'll have to rework this rib, obviously update it to advanced mode and just make sure the connections are working all there. Everything seems fine here. I might change these barrels just slightly so they actually can hold fluid at some point, and maybe could even open and roll out if we need to, but once again we'll have a look at that. The fuel port itself, I probably am going to be moving somewhere, maybe up onto that wall section over there, and have it like a proper fuel port on a ship you would usually have, instead of just having it on the deck here. So that's probably something I'm going to be changing. We also have here is the crane. I'm pretty happy with the crane. I might make it extend a bit, but it's literally, the crane is only there for lifting this rib off and lowering it into the ground. Now we have the controls here, which are probably going to stay more or less the same. We have the maintenance door over here. I don't think I'm going to be changing much on that. I might use some custom doors there just to get it all sealed. The actual maintenance room itself, I don't think we'll do much changes in there. But as I said, the door we might go ahead and actually just remove. We also then move up onto the helicopter deck. Now on the helicopter deck itself, and what I really liked about the ship is that you could go ahead and, for example, lower the guardrails. You could also open the hangar door and you could actually fly over the little bird that is on the workshop, land it over here, get it all connected up and actually wheel it in over here. Now this is something that we're going to have a look at and see if we can still do that first off in the new update. Along with that, we'll see if we can rework some of these rating systems and see if there's anything else we can change on here. We'll probably also go ahead and maybe change the lights to RGB lights and do some microcontrollers for that. Now going on to the actual loading and offloading of the ribs here and the David system, we might go ahead and update this David system into my new David system that we used in the last build series. So we might do that. We also have to update these little boats here. However, we'll see if we're going to be adding them or not. It all depends on the lag. I want to try and keep the lag as minimal as possible on the ship this time round in comparison to the last time where it was really laggy. So I might not include these by default. However, it will be on the workshop, whereas I might just include one of the actual one of the little ribs on there as default. Now moving along, we won't go on the outside, we'll just go straight into here. Now first off we have is the door to go in here. What we'll go is we'll go straight down into the lower levels, and we'll check that out. As you can see here, we have the windows, which I'm probably going to go ahead and upgrade with the new window pieces that they've gone ahead and added in the game. Now to get down, we're just going to go down these stairs over here. As you can see, we have a little well deck here that you could have actually gone ahead and loaded a submarine into. Now to get it to work in the current point in time, what we're going to have to do is use some custom door pieces going along the actual frame of this. Let's just turn the lights on, you can see inside here. We'll use some custom door pieces just here to stop the water from coming in there. I might do a little bit of rework into here, otherwise I might change this whole room. Comment below if you guys would like to keep the well deck in the ship, or if you think we should get rid of it and redesign the bottom area of the ship here. Now moving into the front section, we also have in here is going to be the anchor room. Nothing special, once again, just a simple anchor room. I might open it up a little bit just so you can see the anchors, and we might do some fancy work with some of the winches and things in there. Now going along, as you can see, a whole bunch of detailing still, guys. We had this little system that could actually lift and lower submarines, which was pretty cool. I thought was really cool. Along with that, we'll move into the water processing room. Now because we've got an addition of pipes and a whole bunch of new features, we can actually go ahead and actually start using the system or using this room more to what it should be used for. We can obviously change all these pistons and things into proper pipes now. We can start putting our cooling systems or our fuel tanks inside here. This is pretty much, this room is nearly set up. We just need to actually do all the piping for it and all the configuration and all the logic. We might go ahead and move this control panel into quite a big control panel, but we'll see how that goes on. Now moving on to the engine room itself. Now the engine room, once again, we'll have to go ahead and change the pipes now, because obviously we have pipes in the game. Remember, this was created quite a while back, before we had pipes, before we had advanced mode, before we had any of those features. We'll probably have to go ahead and change these engines up. I'm thinking of probably going and just changing the orientation and then probably putting about 4 on each side, which I think is going to be more than enough. But however, we'll have to go ahead and see and test it out and see how much we can fit in. But as I said, once again, we'll test it out and see what we can do. What I'm thinking is maybe actually lowering this center walkway and then making it into a lowered room, so we have our center of gravity a little bit lower and obviously a little bit higher ceilings. However, once again, let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys think of that. If you think we should keep it at the current level where we have a walkway above and we can't actually access the bottom part, or do you think we should lower the whole thing down so that we can access it and obviously maintain it and so on and so forth, make it actually look like a proper actual room, engine room itself. Now moving on, obviously we have the light switch, which is usually meant to turn the lights on, and then going into the first floor passageway, we obviously have the exits to go into the back deck or off deck, and then we also have the maintenance room, which we were in earlier. Now if we go back through the engine once again, we'll start making our way up to the next level, and you'll see in the next level we actually have the command room. If any of those guys that did play the game early on or did actually use this creation, you'll remember the command room. I really liked it. I thought it was a really cool feature in terms of ships. So we have this beautiful little command room over here, which I spent quite a lot of time doing it. We have obviously all the flashing lights from, in theory, would be the servos all over here on the walls and also over here. Along with that, a couple of windows just to obviously see what's going on. I might want to actually go ahead and just rise or lift the actual roof. It seems a little bit quite squeezed and compact in here, so we'll see what happens in there. Obviously we have the controls for the actual frontal gun just over here that we can go ahead and control. I don't think anything is working at the moment. I might need to unlock it, I'm not sure. I haven't used the ship in forever. And then we also had our sinking ship mode, which was just over here where you could go and sink the ship. You can see here, this was before we even had keypads in the game. This is really outdated, so we'll obviously go ahead and update this. I think I like the layouts, but as I said, we might lift the roof a little bit and obviously redo all the lights and so on and so forth, make it look a little better. Now, moving up onto the next floor, we have obviously the third floor. Now, this is where we had all our rooms. Now, first off, we have the captain's cabin. The captain's cabin needs a little bit of updating. I think, first of all, the windows will need to be updated. As I said, I might want to lift the ceiling a bit. We also have, along with that, is going to be the crew cabins. Just in here, just 2 simple beds. We'll see what we can play around with that. We have, obviously, a little mirror, which I liked, just over there. And we have a couple of access hatches to go onto the roof of the ship itself. In here was the kitchen. I like the kitchen. It's quite nicely detailed, obviously, with a little sink there. We also have the little stove that you go ahead and turn off if you wanted to. We had the microwave and so on and so forth, but it looks like a kitchen, and that's why I like this room. There's not much changes that we need to really make in here. We might go ahead and add a little window in here, but we'll see what we can do with that. And then lastly, we also had the sick bay. Now the sick bay just had 2 medical rooms in there, nothing fancy, just pretty simple. Obviously if you needed to heal anyone, you could do it in here. Now along with that, we also had the final staircase that went up into the actual bridge of the ship. Now the bridge of the ship obviously is the heart of all the controls. We had these little cool panels that came down, so we might rework those or make some slanted ones that go across over here, similar to the last ship build series. We might, I don't know what we'll do with reworking this, but I'm thinking of keeping more of a U-shape control panel just going along here, and then the chairs in between that. As I said, we'll probably end up deleting most of this and reworking it, because obviously we need to put new engines, we need to put new logic in, so we'll get to all of that in the next episode. But as far as actually just going over it and seeing what we need to change, I think we need to add more actual like controls panel stations and less chairs in here, and make it just like a big command room where you can pretty much stand wherever you want, and then probably control it just by using, like we did in the last build series, by using buttons instead of actually controlling it by a seat itself. Now obviously you can see we have access to go over into the actual top deck here, and this was in one of the rooms over here, so we can just go ahead, climb up here. Now on the top deck we didn't, if I don't fall down, we didn't have anything fancy. If I don't keep on falling down here, let's try again. Okay, there we go. So that might need to be reworked there. We have a simple staircase to go down there. We have the water cannons that can get controlled by the bridge itself. Along with that, the funnels, obviously we'll need to get the piping done for those and get those worked all the way back down into the engine, get that all worked out. A couple spotlights here and there, a couple storage bins. As I said, we might rework this and just see how it looks and see if we need to make much more changes. And then up top, we didn't have anything fancy once again. A couple light blocks, a couple horns and things like that. And then quite a few paint blocks here and there. And then yeah, going on to the front of the ship, if I don't fall off like I just did, we'll go back onto it now. Actually no, what we could probably do is just go over to camera mode here, and we can show you the front part here. Now on the front part, we obviously had the gun that was controlled by the actual command room itself. All the controls were there. We actually used to be able to fire this, so we'll just do a little bit of changes on here, not too much. As I said, I definitely want to go ahead and rework the actual windows of the ship. I prefer that they will be open. Obviously we have the new window pieces, so we'll go ahead and use those for sure. And then yeah, pretty much going on to the front here, we have the two little winches with the actual harnesses in them, so we'll probably convert those over to the electrical cables, just to make it a little bit more neater and tidier. But I think we should actually keep those at the end of the day. We'll do a little painting here and there. And then actually going on to the actual mast of the ship itself, I'm thinking possibly lowering this just by like probably about 4 or 5 blocks. It does look quite tall as it is at the moment, but we'll see how it looks at the end of the day, and we'll obviously start adding some of the RGB lights and things like that, so we can go ahead and change that. But that pretty much covers the basics of the ideas of things that we need to go ahead and change in the series itself, and we'll work through as we did with the last series, and we'll go step by step. We'll probably spend the next series going through getting rid of everything and actually starting to plan out where we're going to be putting things and what changes we need to go ahead and do to obviously bring it up into the future, and where we're going to be putting the engines and the new propellers, and what body changes and actually like hull design changes we need to make in comparison to what it is right now. But overall, it was a lovely ship. I loved it. I spent a really long time on the ship, probably about 2 months of full work on the ship. So I was really proud of it, and I love the ship still to this day. I think it's a really good looking ship, but it definitely is dying for an update, so hence the reason why we're going to be doing one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope all of you come through and check out the next video when we actually start working on it and start taking some things off. So I think we'll go ahead and end today's video over there, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed it and found it somewhat entertaining and informative as always, and I'll see you in the next one.